G'day jabronis, it is TheVerd, back with you again with a bit of a different video for you guys. This has to do with Pokemon, but it's a bit more kind of personal than that. I've mentioned this in the past, and I want to kind of bring it forward again because it's an issue that bothers me. And this is an issue to do with the PMC, specifically Pokemon Masters Cup. Currently, season's going pretty well. We're 5-0, it's great, I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is the kind of politics that go on behind the scenes that a lot of people wouldn't really know about. And I think other people are going to try and make them seem a bit different from what they are, and I kind of want to clear up some stuff with you guys, because I feel like this is going to be interpreted wrong, but I need to get this stuff off my chest, because it's just how I feel, and I'm upset by this. So, let me break it down for you. So, a lot of you guys know my feelings towards a certain YouTuber by the name of Lucky Lad TV. I was fine with him being basically my rival through the first season of the PMC, and at the end of the day, when we eventually did have that semi-final match, I ended up choking and losing to him, and that happens. Okay, you know, that happens. We make bad decisions, and we lose. Like, it happens. So that doesn't bother me. I wasn't bothered that he beat me. What I was bothered about was the way that he kind of acted in the competition. So I've seen plenty of people come in the past and they've been cocky about their chances, but they can also accept the fact that when they lose, it's because they were actually just beaten. Like, you know, they were not necessarily like they were wrecked, but like they were just beaten by a better player. And there were situations in that season where Lucky couldn't admit that he had lost. And if he did lose, he would find some way to have like a carefully crafted excuse for why he lost that battle. And I'm not a huge fan of that tactic. I mean, at the end of the day, to me, guys, if you lose, you lose. There's no two ways about it. Yeah, if there was bad hacks, that sucks. If the opponent choked, that sucks. Or, you know, if you potentially choked, that sucks. But there are no excuses out in that battlefield. You play the way that you play, and if you lose, it happens. You just dust yourself off, and you get back into it. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect unless your name is Gypsy King, okay? So, the thing is, I was a bit upset initially heading at the end of that season because, you know, there was a big issue with the finals. See, my good friend Stab was having a lot of internet and personal issues at the time, and so he was unable to battle during the portion of the season, and so he had his assistant coach Trev help out. Now, if Trev hadn't helped out, Stab would have just been replaced by like any other Tom, Dick, or Harry. Sorry, that's an Australian reference. Basically, this means he could be like replaced by anybody, and the season could have gone completely differently. But Trev, you know, he stepped up and said, you know, I'm Stab's assistant coach, I'm going to help him out. And he went on to actually win the whole thing. And I guess people were a bit of like, well, most people were actually fine with it, because at the end of the day, Trev was just doing what anybody else would do in his situation. He was trying to help out his friend, who really wanted to be a part of the tournament, was excited to be a part of the tournament, had a really nice team, and Trev was able to use it to win a championship. And I can't fault him on that, because I know that Trev's a good battler. I know Stab could have done the exact same stuff, because those two work really well together in building teams and have the same kind of battling style, so I think on the same day Stab would have got the exact same result. That doesn't bother me at all. And I have plaudits for Trev, because he is the kind of guy that I can depend on for those situations. If you guys didn't know, when it came to the Summer Showdown tournament, which I have to upload my recap for, I actually finished 2nd overall for the Summer Showdown tournament for the token minorities. Reason was that I got into the quarterfinals and was not going to be able to battle for the rest of the tournament because I had other commitments at the time. And so I asked Trev, who had already been knocked out from the tournament, if he would take over for my team and just do the best that he could with it. And he ended up making the grand final, which was ridiculous. And I can't thank him enough for that opportunity. And I think that, you know, although, yeah, it's not as fair potentially if it was me battling, Trev knows the way that I battle. He knows that I drafted that team to suit my battle style, and he pretty much made the exact same spreads that I would have made for those finals matches, made the exact same plays that I would have made, and he got the results. So I have no doubt in my mind that if I was in those battles, in the exact same situations, I would have done the same things. But this is where things get a bit... So Lucky was really upset that he lost that final, and, you know, was claiming that, you know, he didn't deserve to lose to Trev, you know, he deserved to battle Stab, and that, you know, the victory was tainted and all that stuff. And I'm like, bro, you made the final of the first season of the PMC and you're complaining? Like, I got knocked out in the semi-finals and I was fine with that. Like, I got beaten on the day, it happens. Sure, Stab was the person you were meant to face and you couldn't face him. But would you really rather taken a forfeit in the grand final? Just, for there to be no effort in you winning that championship. There is surely no way anybody would accept that. If you were a good person, you would want to battle, no matter who it is, in the grand final, to have that vindication of saying, you know what, no matter what was put up against me, I triumphed. And on the day, you didn't. And that's fine. Like, this is the one thing that I can't get my head around. He just can't seem to admit defeat. It doesn't matter if he's outplayed, outmaneuvered, outsmarted, he can't seem to admit defeat. There always has to be this little reason why he couldn't lose legitimately. And that really grinds my gears. That shit really grinds my gears. But moving on from that, we get into the next season of the PMC, and I was like, okay, back at it again with Lucky. He drafted a really good team, and he did something that was a bit like iffy that I didn't actually know about at the time. I thought he had actually just made one of his regular transactions. See, here's the thing. The PMC is trying to follow like the GBA style of thing, where people only get 3 redrafts and unlimited trades and whatnot to a certain extent. And there used to be a rule back in other leagues that I've been in that immediately after you draft, you're allowed to do a redraft. Like, if there's one thing that maybe you were like, oh, I didn't actually mean to pick that. So that was what I did in the first season of the PMC. I didn't realize that my last pick was accidentally Mega Rodino. I actually meant to pick Mega Pinsir, and I let them know about that, and it was changed. The difference with this was, Lucky didn't, pick something and then be like, oh no, I actually meant to pick this. He literally had a situation where he had the choice of 2 things, and he just made the wrong choice, and then just, said to Specs, oh, sorry, mulligan, let me change that. There's a big difference in my opinion, because it was changing, I think, like these tier 4 grass types or some bullshit like that. I can't remember what it was. The difference between his and mine was the fact that it was very clear that I had made a mistake. I already had a fairy type on my team in, I believe it was Gramble, and so Mega Rodino made like 0 sense on my team. I messaged Spec saying, okay, I did not realize I was trying to pick regular Ordino, didn't realize I made a mistake, my bad, give me Mega Pinsir. And that was solved, that was easy. His mistake was more, he said, oh, actually I don't want to pick this Pokemon, I would rather have this one. And we're going to make it a free thing instead of taking it out of my 3 transactions, which I didn't realize was what was going on. I actually just assumed that it was one of his transactions, which is fine. Like, if it was one of his transactions and he wanted to change it, cool. I figured we were past that point. So, moving in then through the season, he made some other transactions, and we were all like, fine, that's all good. And everybody had made like lots of transactions. Like, to this point, I'd made my 3 redrafts, and I was fine with that. I could make trades to make my team better, as you will see in the future. But it came around to, I believe, week 5 or 6, and Lucky decided that he was going to redraft Gyarados into Slowking. Now, the issue with this was that if you had counted the first transaction that he had, assumed was free, then he would be using a 4th transaction, which is against the rules. And the person who picked up this Dallas, the other Dallas team, like Dallas Stars, he was like, well, wait a minute, this is your 4th transaction. What are you trying to do here, mate? And Lucky was like, oh no, it's not my transaction. The first one was free. Specs was fine with that. And if Specs was fine with that, if that was actually something that happened, then sure, that makes sense. But the thing is, a lot of people weren't really confident on that, and Specs himself wasn't really confident on that. He couldn't say legitimately like, oh yeah, because the thing was that then created an issue, because everybody else was then saying like, okay, so does everybody else get a free redraft? And it created so many issues that the most appropriate way to deal with it was just a simple way to deal with it. You had a situation there, and as commissioner, I can completely understand J-Specs' decision here. So he was basically at a crossroads. He could either go with point 1, which was saying, okay, since Lucky has done an extra redraft, everybody else gets 1 more redraft, which is pretty darn broken at that point. Like, that would have been pretty ridiculous, would have made things a lot more complicated and everything. The other option, which was probably the easier one to go for, was just saying, okay, Lucky, you can't redraft that Gyarados into Slowking. It was a simple thing. Gyarados is still a fantastic mod in the format, it was kind of weird in his team, but he decided to trade to get it, so like, at the end of the day, because of this, because Lucky couldn't get his way when basically everybody else in the PMC was trying to do what we thought was the right and fair thing, which I think it would be, because it doesn't seem fair to give everybody an extra redraft, and especially people who won't be able to afford things now with their redrafts that they maybe could have done if they had more in the future, if they'd known they could have had an extra one. then, you know, it made it unfair for them, especially people that also wanted Slowking as well. Other people wanted Slowking that had redrafts remaining, and Lucky was basically taking that chance away from them. And so, because of all this, because he didn't get his way, Lucky decided to leave the PMC. Now, I was a little bit surprised, but then again, a lot of me wasn't surprised. Like, I can understand Aki having to leave because he had personal reasons, and that's fine, you know, personal reasons fine, but this wasn't personal reasons. This was basically a child, and I'm not even going to say child, I'm going to say it's a baby who has basically had a toy, somebody's taken that toy away from him, and now he's having a little tantrum about it, and he doesn't want to play anymore. That's literally how this situation is going down right now, and I honestly think it's pathetic. Like, oh no, you didn't get the one Pokemon you needed. You still had a Milotic. Milotic is fantastic in this format. It actually worked quite nicely with your team, and I'm sure you could have managed trades with other people. Trading to get Gyarados and then hoping to redraft was not a good idea. If anything, what was the point of getting Gyarados when you already had a Mega Charizard? Why? Did you want to lose to rocks a little bit more in your life? I don't know. I was just very upset because, again, it was like Lucky not giving legitimacy to, you know, things that are happening in his life. Like, it didn't make sense for him to leave. Like, yeah, something didn't go your way. Earlier in the season, I wanted to redraft my Mega Absol, and I found out you couldn't redraft Megas. I didn't say, oh, well, now all my plans are ruined, I'm gonna leave the PMC. I said, okay, this is a minor setback. I'll just keep Mega Absol, do some other redrafts, and make my team better. And now my team is amazing, because I was able to compromise. Instead of just having a hissy fit, I compromised, made my team better. And this is what shits me about what he did. He didn't try and compromise. He didn't try and actually take a step back and think about everything in the big picture. All he thought about was what would help himself, not anybody else in the league, and try doing things that way. And he wonders why we're pissed at him. Like, he genuinely, I don't know if he actually wonders why we're pissed at him, but if this isn't a clear enough indication for you, I can go into more depth. I'm more than happy to. A lot of people aren't really speaking up about this, but I'm not most people. I'm a very opinionated individual. I have a curly moustache. I have, like, so many opinions. And sometimes you just need to rant about this stuff, because it really frustrates me when people think they can just waltz in and do whatever they want and get away with whatever they want, and then assume that it's okay, and when it doesn't go their way, they just either threaten to leave, or they leave, or they make excuses and whatnot, and I just don't like people like that. So, quite frankly, I don't like you, Lucky Lad TV. I don't. You can give me a reply if you want, you can hate me all you want, you can get apparently all your big YouTubers onto me, I don't care. I really don't. I'm just voicing my opinion here, mate, and quite frankly, the fact that you will consistently complain about things not going your way, and then when things do, you'll gloat to people about it, you will just be a really obnoxious asshole sometimes. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that, and I can't sit here act like things okay. So the reason I'm actually doing this video is not even because of me, it's because of J-Specs. Now, J-Specs and I, we go a long way back, and he has been under a lot of pressure in the last few months because people like Lucky have been consistently wanting to change things in his system and complaining about things in his system. A system that J-Specs has worked hard on for over a year. So what gives you the right to mess with his system that he's been working so hard on? It's getting him frustrated, and he won't speak up about this shit, but I am going to speak up for him, because honestly, this isn't okay. Like, this isn't like a Velicify kind of thing, like big problem in the Pokemon community. But the issue stands is the fact that you can't assume that, you know, things are going to be okay. Like, Specs can change his mind. He's the fucking commissioner. That's his role. Just because you say something doesn't mean it is law, Lucky, okay? That's the issue that I have with you right now, is the fact that you just assumed things will be fine and they work out perfectly for you because that's how they always seem to work out for you. But it also seems like they always seem to work out for you because you enjoy just avoiding the fact that, yes, sometimes you can be beaten. And not just beaten, beaten quite easily and soundly, aka the PMC final. And I've lost to Trev too. It happens. But you know what? I'm a man and I can accept that I lost. I don't, you know, act all mopey about it and claim that, you know, it was a bullshit win. Trev beat you fair and square. Get over it. I don't complain that Shuckax beat me in the final. in the showdown tournament. He won fair and square. Probably would have beat me anyway in that final. I have never complained about losing a match, because if I misplayed, that's on me. That's not on my opponent. That's on me. I have to settle those demons myself. If it was hacks, that's part of the game. If my opponent choked, I console them. I don't say, haha, nice work choking the game away and stuff like that. Like, why? Like, these are the kind of people that I hate in these league formats. People who can't be, you know, respective and courteous and just follow the rules. There's always those people that have to try and shift things for their benefit, or find ways to make excuses to make themselves seem like a better person than they actually are. And I'm not okay with that. The PMC, I honestly think, is much better off without him. Sure, we lost a person that maybe had a few more subs than the people, so potentially brought in publicity, but then again, he rarely is getting views on his videos anyway, so it wasn't really changing that much. And the channel itself, the PMC itself, has been growing exponentially over the last few years. And I can see it growing even more and more, because we have dedicated people who are coming in all the time doing the hard work. We have really solid analysts coming through. We have a fantastic commissioner who gets shit done, and we have a lot of committed battlers who are doing things right. We have a good system going on, and it just shits me when there are people that come along that try to fuck with the system. You don't fuck with the system. Anybody out here who has commissioned a league can understand JSpex's pain here, when people come along and try and change things that you have worked hard on. It's not fair, it's not okay, and JSpex might not speak up about it, but I'm going to speak up about it, because I'm sick of this shit. I'm not a fan of Lucky Lad TV. I'm probably going to unsubscribe from him now, since he doesn't upload PMC matches, so I don't really need to watch that. The big one was the fact of his last battle, I think, against Jonah, that I watched. Jonah dominated him. And I mean, like, really dominated. Lucky did not the best prep at all for that team, and then Lucky was just blaming so many reasons on his loss, like, oh, this wasn't a good time for me to battle. Even if it was a good time for you to battle, you lost that matchup, like, quite easily. Sub-Toxic Magnezone destroyed your team. You did not have a way to stop that thing. You didn't have a way to stop the overall workings of Jonah's team. It matched up perfectly against you, it got the job done, you just got outplayed. But what did he say? Did he say, oh, I got outplayed this week, that's okay, Jonah did a really good job, don't worry guys, we'll bounce back next week, because that's what a good battler would say? No, what he said was that, you know, he didn't prep well, he was rushed for time, blah blah blah, all these excuses that you don't need to say. If you were rushed for time, set the battle at a later date. If you didn't prep well, that's on you, that's not an excuse for your loss. I'm sorry, but you're a good enough battler where even if you prep shit, you could probably have turned that around. And at the end of the day, if you prep shit, that's not an excuse for you losing. That's just bad in general. So, I don't want to keep this rant going on very long, because it's almost been 20 minutes of your time. And if you've watched this whole thing, then good on you. Like, looking at this beautiful face for 20 minutes, that takes guts. It takes a lot of guts. But my points, guys, I just want to get back to, and I want you guys to understand why I actually did this video, is the fact that I'm not okay with people like this in the Pokemon community. Now, I am in two very good leagues right now. I am part of the PMC, like I said, and the NPL. Now, the NPL, there is nobody like this, because everybody respects everyone, everyone follows the rules, we are all courteous and good, and that's how I want the PMC to be. And I've been helping JSpex try and make the PMC this way, and it just annoys me when people like Lucky come along and try and change the status quo. That's what really frustrates me, and that's why I needed to voice my opinion about this, because I'm not going to stand by and watch a league that somebody has worked so hard on making good just crumble away. That's not fair on JSpex at all. Now, if you guys agree with me, feel free to like this video, comment on this video. It will probably pop up on your Twitter, so, you know, retweet it if you want to. But the thing is that I am not asking you guys to give hate to Lucky, okay? You can feel whatever way you want about him, and what he does, and how he feels about decisions. That is up to you. What I am doing is just giving you my opinion on a situation. I am not asking you guys to give him hate either, because that is not something he deserves, okay? I myself am not a fan of his actions. Now, he may reflect poorly on these, or it may actually help him turn around and become a better person. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, I am not okay with these things happening. I wanted to voice my opinion, and I wanted you guys to understand that, you know, although leagues on the surface seem like they're all fine, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, shit like this happens so often, and it really frustrates me, and I want to see it stop. But that's going to do it for me, because I can't go on and keep rambling about this stuff. I just wanted to get this off my chest, and more videos will be coming, probably. I don't know, I work 2 jobs right now, and it's pretty hectic. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you do enjoy. If you like seeing videos like this where I kind of just rant or discuss about certain things, let me know in the comment section. But yeah, I'm TheVerd. I'm not a fan of Lucky Lad TV. I'm saying it right now, straight down the barrel. Like, I'm not a fan of you, man. What you did for the PMC was bad, and I'm honestly glad that you're gone. But anyway, it's TheVerd, and I'm out this bitch.